Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Unman Bhattacharya. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. Prime Minister Narendra Modi reaches Croatia on the third and final leg of his three-nation tour. Croatian Prime Minister Andrej Plenković receives PM Modi at the airport. Prime Minister Modi speaks to US President Donald Trump, discusses about the Pahalgam terror attack and Operation Sindoor at length. New Delhi reiterates there was no US mediation in pausing India's offensive against Pakistan in Operation Sindoor. Prime Minister Modi sets the record straight with Trump in a 35-minute phone call. At Israel-Iran conflict enters the sixth day. Trump calls for Iran's unconditional surrender. Khamenei warns US strikes on Iran will have serious consequences. On the last leg of his three-nation visit, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has reached Zagreb, the capital of Croatia, marking a historic and strategically important visit that underscores India's commitment to further strengthening its engagement with partners in the European Union. The Prime Minister of Croatia, Andrej Plenković, received PM Modi at the Zagreb airport. Both the countries enjoy centuries-old close cultural links. As the first visit by an Indian Prime Minister to Croatia, the visit is expected to open new venues of bilateral cooperation in areas of mutual interest. Prime Minister Narendra Modi received a warm welcome from the Indian diaspora in Zagreb as he arrived in Croatia as part of the last leg of his three-nation tour. PM Modi was greeted by the diaspora with bouquets as he arrived at his hotel, and the Prime Minister also engaged with the diaspora, exchanging greetings and acknowledging their support.
Swastirmanushetyaः urdhvam jigatu bheshajam shanno astu dvipade shanchatushpade om.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi's Croatia visit marks a historic and strategically significant visit that underscores India's deepening engagement with Central and Eastern Europe. DD India's Jessica Taneja sent us this report from Zagreb.
Coming on the heels of Prime Minister Narendra Modi's participation in the G7 summit, the engagements in Zagreb will extend beyond traditional bilateral pleasantries and serve as a strategic exploration of how Croatia fits into India's expanding European vision. Prime Minister Narendra Modi's arrival in Croatia marks a significant milestone. It will be the first visit by an Indian Prime Minister since this Adriatic nation gained independence in 1991. And as India and the European Union seek to conclude a potential free trade agreement before this year ends, partners like Croatia not only provide critical leverage, but also important logistical pathways. Prime Minister Modi is scheduled to hold bilateral discussions with Croatian Prime Minister Andrej Plenković and also meet President Zoran Milanović. These discussions are expected to cover a wide range of topics and present a vital opportunity to broaden bilateral cooperation across various sectors, including trade, innovation, defence, ports, shipping, science and technology, cultural exchanges, as well as workforce mobility. Croatia, an EU and NATO member, offers political stability and a growing economy. With 2.9% GDP growth in the first quarter that has often outpaced the EU average, it holds significant cultural and strategic relevance that resonates in New Delhi. Its consistent support for India's aspiration for a permanent seat at the UNSC and its advocacy for India's membership in the Nuclear Suppliers Group are valued. Discussions will likely address cooperation in international forums on shared challenges such as climate change, counter-terrorism, and regional stability. The visit also highlights the importance of strengthening people-to-people contacts and cultural ties. Building on centuries-old cultural links, the University of Zagreb, with its historic Centre for Indology and increasing Indian cultural influence in Croatia through various initiatives, underscores the existing cultural connections. Over the past decade, India's engagement with the continent has expanded significantly beyond its historical focus on major Western European economies. This visit is not an isolated event, but an integral component of India's evolving and increasingly nuanced approach to European diplomacy. Jessica Taneja for DD India in Zagreb, Croatia.
After concluding a very productive visit to Canada, Prime Minister Modi reached Croatia on the last leg of his three-nation visit. With the visit to Croatia, India aims to establish a far more robust and diversified economic partnership with the European Union member. DD India's Jessica Taneja spoke with India's ambassador to Croatia, Arun Goyal, about the expectations from bilateral engagements.
We have with us India's ambassador to Croatia, Arun Goyal. Thank you for speaking to DD India and taking out time for us. What are the discussions that the Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi will have with his counterparts, the Croatian Prime Minister, and as well as with the President? What can you tell us about that?
This, I'm sure, is going to put India-Croatia relations on a different trajectory. So when the two leaders meet, they have one-to-one talk. It's not merely what is on agenda today, but more will flow out of it when that bond starts happening. So we should be looking forward to a very productive exchange of not merely the goods and services, but of high-tech personnel in the decades to come. So we are having, for example, an agreement. There's going to be a program of cooperation in the field of science and technology. Croatians have been eagerly looking forward to it. So this will set the two countries' existing science technology systems, materials, information, the personnel, which will have exchange of young researchers thereafter. Similarly, in the field of agriculture, the agreement which is likely to be signed, that is going to bring the research and development in agriculture and allied fields. 30 fields approximately have been enumerated, where there will be close exchange of materials, research, information and personnel.
How do you see Croatia playing an important role when it comes to India-EU FTA, and where does it fit in the picture?
Croatia is a member of EU, also Eurozone and Schengen. So visit by Honorable Prime Minister and the interaction between the two leaders is going to help us find a reliable partner in the EU, and it will help India to push the FTA with EU faster and more meaningful. So after all, when you are negotiating, you need friends. So this is going to be, I'm sure this is going to be a very good asset. When both the leaders meet, they talk to each other, they have the bonding. So we'll have a strong partner in Croatia, in EU.
Thank you for summing the relationship between India and Croatia for us. Well, you heard from Ambassador Goyal, the relation between India and Croatia dates back to many centuries. There'll be more that we get for you from the city of Zagreb. This is Jessica Taneja for DD India in Zagreb.
Students studying Indology at the University of Zagreb in Croatia expressed their happiness on Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to the country. DD India's Jessica Taneja interacted with them. Take a listen.
We have with us a few Croatian students who have been studying Hindi at the University of Zagreb. They have a dedicated department of Indology. In fact, this course and curriculum has been part of the university since 60 years, and these students have taken up a course for 4 years. Let's speak to a few of them and try and understand what they've been studying and what all have they learned. Thank you for speaking to DD India. I believe that you've been learning Hindi. Could you tell us about what all you've learned so far and how has it helped you?
हिंदी सीखती हूँ बहुत समय से पहले और बहुत मददगार था क्योंकि अब काम भी मिला तो हिंदी में बात करती हूँ हर रोज़ और भारतीय लोगों के साथ हूँ हर दिन तो ये विश्वविद्यालय इंडोलॉजी डिपार्टमेंट बहुत अच्छी बात ही मेरे लिए और सीखना भी नहीं चाहती थी तब उसी समय तो ये मेरी इच्छा बिल्कुल नहीं थी और अब आज यहाँ हूँ और काम मिला हिंदी के कारण तो मैं बहुत संतुष्ट हूँ।
आप हिंदी क्यों सीख रही हैं? आपको ऐसा क्या इंटरेस्टिंग लगा हिंदी के बारे में? आपको किसने बताया हिंदी के बारे में? आपका इंटरेस्ट कैसे बना हिंदी सीखने में?
हिंदी बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग है लेकिन also my colleagues can speak more about Hindi, but I also want to talk about the culture and the history since I'm also a PhD student of Indology and there are many connections through history between India and Croatia, so we are really honored that this is first time that Prime Minister is coming here.
What is it that you're studying? You said you're studying about the cultural ties. Tell us a bit about your curriculum. What is exactly that you're studying right now?
So my PhD thesis is actually about one Croatian priest that was in India, in Kerala, in 18th century. So he wrote a beautiful book about India, where it is one of the first documents where it was described the culture and the religion of India, and we are also very proud that he was Croatian. Yes, it's great that he wrote about culture, and also because he was missionary priest, he really wrote nice things, and he understood Hinduism actually.
I want to improve my Hindi, but I'm also interested in history, Indian history, culture, and we also learn Sanskrit in our department. And I want to learn a lot of things, including like yoga practice.
What about Sanskrit? What are you learning particularly about it?
We learn about Vedas and we translate texts like Mahabharata or Ramayana.
What are you studying at the Department of Indology? Culture, Sanskrit or Hindi? What is it that you're
Also, I'm studying all of that, but I'm most interested in Sanskrit, especially the Ramayana.
As you heard from all the students here of the University of Zagreb, who are part of the Department of Indology, learning Hindi, Sanskrit, the Indian literary texts, and also talking about the culture and the promotion of the Indian culture here in Croatia, as India and Croatia ties dated back to many years ago. This department has been in existence for more than 60 years and it continues to gain relevance in today's day and age as well. This is Jessica Taneja with video journalist Ajit for DD India in Zagreb.
And Jessica Taneja now joins us from Zagreb, the capital of Croatia, where Prime Minister Narendra Modi has already arrived and has got a very warm and vibrant reception at the hotel as well from members of the Indian community particularly. Jessica, it was such a vibrant welcome that the Prime Minister was accorded there at the hotel in Zagreb, and we heard your endearing conversation also with so many Croatians who are learning Sanskrit, Hindi and so on and so forth. So tell us about whether this visit, since this is the first ever visit by an Indian Prime Minister to Croatia, is going to set ties on a very entirely new trajectory.
That's correct. It is. And, as you saw from the conversations I've had with the Croatian students here, not just the students, even people here in Croatia, there's an interest in not just literature as well as the history of India, but also its food, the people connections is quite immense. And if you notice on quite a few Indian restaurants, and not to forget, there are more than 250 yoga studios here. So yoga, again, being quite popular. And again, we're going to celebrate the International Yoga Day in just a day. So interestingly, Croatia does recognize India, understands Indian culture, knows Indian history. There's a huge connect as well. As I was talking to students who told me various literary texts from, from Premchand's stories to the Mahabharata, they seem to know pretty much. And these kind of cultural exchanges, of course, makes the environment, the engagement much more vibrant. The expansion of cultural ties, beyond the economic and political ties, certainly gives more room to the momentum that both the countries are headed towards, especially when you look at Croatia. It's both an EU and a NATO member, so it's already providing that kind of leverage to India as we conclude a potential free trade agreement before this year ends. And the kind of trade enhancements we're looking with Croatia would certainly do with the kind of cultural exchanges we see here. Munmun.
Jessica Taneja reporting from Zagreb, Croatia. Still to come on this edition of DD India Live. Amazing visuals from across the world on how yoga enthusiasts are gearing up for the upcoming International Day of Yoga. An Indian pace spearhead Jasprit Bumrah reveals he did not take up Test captaincy because of workload management.
Geopolitics and trade deals. Economic challenges amid development. Hard work and the path to prosperity. It's the economy always. Between walkers, money is what money does and says. Supply creates its own demand. Between the bulls pulls and bears tears. When supply chains globalization and India rises to the podium. We'll get you centered with the economic brief at 8 p.m. every Thursday on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India Live. US President Donald Trump and Prime Minister Narendra Modi spoke over a 30-minute phone call today, which was made on the request from the US side. Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri briefed the media on the phone conversation. The call began with PM Modi giving details of the Pahalgam terror attack and Operation Sindoor. Prime Minister Modi reiterated that no mediation or trade deal were discussed on the understanding on cessation of hostilities with Pakistan during Operation Sindoor. President Trump expressed his support towards India's fight against terrorism. Prime Minister Modi stated that India no longer views terrorism as a proxy war, but as a war itself, and that India's Operation Sindoor is still ongoing.
प्रधानमंत्री मोदी ने राष्ट्रपति ट्रंप को स्पष्ट रूप से कहा कि इस पूरे घटनाक्रम के दौरान कभी भी किसी भी स्तर पर भारत अमेरिका ट्रेड डील या अमेरिका द्वारा भारत और पाकिस्तान के बीच मध्यस्थता जैसे विषयों पर बात नहीं हुई थी। सैन्य कार्रवाई रोकने की बात सीधे भारत और पाकिस्तान के बीच दोनों सेनाओं की एग्जिस्टिंग चैनल्स के माध्यम से हुई थी और पाकिस्तान के ही आग्रह पर हुई थी। प्रधानमंत्री मोदी ने जोर देकर कहा कि भारत ने न तो कभी मध्यस्थता स्वीकार की थी, न करता है और न ही कभी करेगा। इस विषय पर भारत में पूर्ण रूप से राजनीतिक एकमत है।
The two leaders also spoke about the Russia-Ukraine and Israel-Iran conflicts. Foreign Secretary added that President Trump asked PM Modi if he could visit the US on his return from Canada, but the Prime Minister expressed his inability, citing prior programs. Further, for the next Quad meeting, Prime Minister Modi invited President Trump to visit India, an invitation that President Trump accepted.
राष्ट्रपति ट्रंप और प्रधानमंत्री मोदी ने इजराइल ईरान के बीच चल रहे संघर्ष पर भी चर्चा की। रूस यूक्रेन कॉन्फ्लिक्ट पर दोनों ने सहमति जताई कि जल्द से जल्द शांति के लिए दोनों पक्षों में सीधी बातचीत आवश्यक है और इसके लिए प्रयास करते रहना चाहिए।
Prime Minister Narendra Modi participated in the outreach session of the G7 summit in Kananaskis. He addressed a session on energy security, diversification, technology and infrastructure to ensure access and affordability in a changing world. He thanked the Prime Minister of Canada, Mark Carney, for his invitation and congratulated the G7 on marking 50 years of its journey. In his address, PM highlighted that energy security was among the leading challenges facing future generations. PM elaborated on India's commitment to inclusive growth. He further stressed that India has successfully met its Paris commitments ahead of time, thanking the global community for their strong support to India in its fight against terrorism. PM expressed that the Pahalgam terror attack was not just an assault on India, but on the entire humanity. PM called for strict action against countries who support and promote terrorism. He further noted that there should be no double standards in dealing with terrorism, and those who support terrorism should never be rewarded. Calling terrorism a grave threat to humanity, Prime Minister put forth pressing questions for the international community to ponder over. Updates on West Asia tensions. Iran claimed early on Wednesday to have fired hypersonic missiles at Israel in the latest round of overnight strikes, hours after Trump demanded the Islamic Republic's quote-unquote unconditional surrender. The US President insists Washington has played no part in ally Israel's bombing campaign, but also warned Iran his patience is running thin as the conflict entered its sixth day. Israeli warplanes targeted the Iranian capital before dawn on Wednesday after the military issued a warning on social media for civilians in an area known as District 18 to evacuate. In retaliation, Iran told residents of Tel Aviv to prepare for an attack with the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, claiming its hypersonic Fateh 1 missiles were repeatedly shaking the shelters in the commercial hub. Irregular periods, hormonal balances and imbalances, and PCOD or PCOS are challenges being faced by countless women. But now, many are turning to an age-old solution, which is yoga. From bankers to students, women reclaiming their health through mindful practice. Here's a special report on how yoga is transforming lives and restoring balance.
In a world where hectic lifestyles often lead to health complications, yoga is emerging as a silent healer. Meet Nilima, a banker from New Delhi, who was once struggling with irregular periods and frequent hormonal fluctuations. Despite consulting several doctors, her recovery seemed slow until she discovered yoga.
With the help of yoga treatment, the problem got resolved, and I'm perfectly fit and fine. My cycles are back to regular. Under a very hectic schedule of mine, being into banking, I am able to manage my classes. All youngsters, all the parents should inculcate this habit to their young girls that they should do yoga regularly, so that they should not face such kind of problems ever in their life. Yoga is absolutely wonderful. It heals your body, and with just minimum effort of even you spend 45 minutes on an hour a day, it's good enough to be healthy.
Meanwhile, Jasween, a young psychology student, struggled with PCOS, which left her emotionally and physically drained. Irregular periods, acne, weight gain, every symptom took a toll on her mental well-being.
It has helped me with my mental health. It has helped me with my physical health. I'm able to deal with stress in a more contained, in a more calmer and proportioned manner. I'm not all over the place. I know how to deal with what do I need to start with first. PCOS was something that I wanted to deal with, and I needed help for that as well. I had very irregular cycles, so yoga helped me figure that out, and it helped me what's not working well for me right now. How do I work through that? It can also be a lot of mental headspace as well that works towards that. So helping me make sure I'm able to deal with it positively. I wasn't very comfortable with my body, and I was having very negative thoughts. I was able to turn those negative thoughts into positive affirmations, and how do I feel better about my body?
From hormonal harmony to emotional healing, yoga, the ancient Indian practice, is offering hope where modern medicine often pauses. Kriti Vadhera's report for DD India.
And in sports news, Indian pace spearhead Jasprit Bumrah on Tuesday broke his silence on him not taking the India Test captaincy. The 31-year-old said that he was a captaincy choice for the BCCI selection committee, but had to turn them down due to workload management. Bumrah shared he had spoken to BCCI officials and the selectors about his workload even before Rohit and Kohli announced their test retirements last month. He had to make the hard decision of letting the captaincy go, as the doctors and physios advised him to be smart with his body to prolong his career. That's it in this edition of DD India Live. Do share your thoughts with us on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on the DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. You can scan the QR code on the screen to download now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. This is Munmun Bhattacharya from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India Live. Namaskar.